Swope, so you please.
Ms. Cordova is absent. Mr. Davis,
Here.
Mr. Lopez.
Here.
Mr. Merritt,
Here.
Ms. Parker,
Here.
Mr. Rackler,
Here.
Mr. Robinson is absent.
I wouldn't mark him absent just yet because he's not getting off the bus until late need. That's why he's been late the last.
Okay,
I wouldn't mark him absent for a few more minutes anyway.
okay, thank you, sir. And Mr. Self
Here.
and Mayor Miller.
Here. Okay, if you'd all please rise. Ms. Parker's going to lead us in the invocation, and Mr. Self is going to lead us in the pledges.
Bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening to ask for your guidance as we begin the city council meeting. We pray for wisdom for our mayor, city leaders, and council members. Grant us the discernment to distinguish right from wrong and the courage to make the best decisions for all citizens. Bless our community and its people and help us to focus on the common good in all that we do. May our discussions be marked by mindedness, allowing us to find common ground and work together for the betterment of this city. We thank you for this opportunity to serve and work together, and we ask that you will be done in this place tonight. Lord, we ask for prayers and strength for Robin from our city water department. Lord, please place your healing hands on her and to the doctors that are treating her. Please let her know through prayer that we're all here for her and pulling for her. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico and see a symbol of perfect friendships among united cultures.
Thanks, everyone. Our next item is public comment. The public has the opportunity to provide comment on subjects regarding city business during the public comment period. Speakers' comments will be limited to 3 minutes unless the mayor and/or councilors request more information. The time limit is given in an effort to allow public input, but also to move the agenda forward in a prompt yet efficient manner. All speakers must sign in at the beginning of the meeting. Topics are limited to 6 speakers per topic. Public comment are not meant to resolve speakers' issues. However, speakers may be redirected to appropriate city departments for further assistance. A time will start as soon as the speaker addresses the mayor and council members. When the limit of 3 minutes is reached, the city clerk or deputy clerk will verbally declare time. I have one person on the list tonight, and it's Mark Sias to speak on property. If you'll come forward and state your name, and we'll start the clock.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Size. Like just showing up on this dangerous property resolution on April 12th. I just came by to see if it's up to your satisfaction. I've been served with a letter since May, and I had a lot of things in there, vehicles and fires. I got them all out of there, so I'm hoping that it's to your satisfaction. I do need it removed off the property, dangerous property list. And I'm praying that it's good enough that I could get it in writing and could all be over.
Thanks, sir. Yeah, that's all the public comment for this evening. We'll move to minutes of the previous meeting held November 18th.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Parker, second by Mr. Rackler. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move now to action items. The first action item is I'm gonna state this a little different than it says on the agenda, but it's a request to reconsider the motion for approval of Navitas Global and their industrial commercial water application. So I need a motion to reconsider that action.
As a person who voted in the affirmative, I am requesting that we take another look at this and rescind our initial approval.
Okay, do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion to reconsider, signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. So we're now back on action on the request of the approval of Navitas Global and their industrial commercial water application. Mr. Raffler.
I would like to share, first of all, the gravity of this job is sometimes a little more than anybody realizes. And anyway, after leaving the meeting that night, I did not feel good about this vote. I stayed up all night praying about it, thinking about it, trying to come up with a solution. Finally, I figured out that I had done this once before where I didn't think I had voted correctly and knew I had the option to put it back on. I would like to share my concerns, and that way, when you guys get a chance to speak, you can address those, I hope. The first one was the initial filling of the tanks. The amount of gallons for that just is tremendous. And I would like to see if there's another way to go about that, maybe bring it in by tanker or whatever you're doing now, rather than taking it out of the city reserves. Second is some of the answers to some of the questions. The more I looked at it, were just pretty vague, and some of the numbers changed from Public Works meeting to the meeting we had that night. And now in the synopsis we've gotten this week, some of them have changed again. So numbers changing in that short a time frame is very concerning to me. I do understand you guys are going to give us some opportunity to get some clean water back, but I have a lot of concern about the testing of that and making sure we don't have any issues there. And then I have some concerns about what price level they'll be on, which we didn't even discuss at all as far as that. I just felt like after the vote, I went, wait a minute, I'm missing something. Anyway, so those are my concerns, and be glad to hear some answers to some of these. Oh, I did want to mention, I did speak with some of the guys with Soil and Water that I go to their meetings every month on our behalf. Some of those guys are concerned, will you be buying your product from the local farmers, or will you be bringing it in by rail and they still have to go elsewhere to sell their product? In the past, they've had it both ways when the past places that use their product were here. And they kind of want to know more about that. There was some load time issues with the last company that did buy their product because it was taking too long. They were there all day to unload one truck, and they're concerned that they won't be able to sell to you if you don't have a good process in place. And they didn't know what products you'd be willing to buy, Milo, corn, both. So those are the things that would like to hear with this.
Hey, anybody else have anything before I turn it over to answer those questions?
I would like to hear from the city. I've heard, a couple of things, but I would like clarity from somebody from the city that they did receive a water meter for bathroom use or general use, and my understanding that they went over that usage, but I would like clarity on that, on what that was and approximate.
Chris Mendoza is the subject matter expert, but I can go back over it from what I remember. So I think that I think Navitas needed some water for the initial testing of the building itself in its original form. And this isn't for like production or anything. I think they just needed some on site to maybe see if the plumbing worked or something like that.
Sure.
Then they had an engineer that was going to stay, I think, it was an engineer or some technicians that were going to stay there and do some work. So they needed like restroom water or something like that. It seems like, if I remember correctly, something broke or there was a leak or some water was, I'm not sure. So they were grossly outside of their allocated limit to begin with. It seems like we couldn't get a hold of them very well to talk to them at the time, and didn't get some response. So our water department shut it off. And then I think somebody cut a lock or something and turned it back on. Now I'm not 100% that I'm sure on that. I think Ms. Rudd remembers some of that, maybe.
I do. So what happened at the time was, Navitas had contacted the city to get water we had originally told them, okay, we'll cut the water on. Well, when we cut the water on, we realized that there was a leak out there. So they were told, cut the water off, that leak must be fixed, and so we're able to approve your permit. Our understanding was that the water was cut off. When they had put in their VITA application to get VITA funding, I had went to Catherine and I said, hey, what's up with the water application? It all kind of goes together. And she said, well, to my knowledge, they shouldn't be having the water on. So she pulled their usage. It was a significant amount. We thought the water had been cut off. And so we had Mr. Mendoza go out there, and our city system had been tampered with to turn the water back on. At that time, I believe they were contacted and notified of that, also notified of it at the VITA meeting, to get approval for local economic development money, a portion of it. And it was addressed at that time that I believe the owner of the company wasn't aware that that was taking place. And so we had told them, please fill out the water application. It's already been given to you. That is what we're waiting on to be able to move forward because of that significant leak out there.
Thank you.
You have anything to add with Mr. Mitten on any of this? Mr. Rackner's concerns or anything? Do you have any new information?
Well, I think Mr. Zeman will be able to talk through it quite a bit. My understanding, I've been in a handful of conversations with him, but initially, so our water application, whether it's commercial or residential or for large, business and production, is a little bit vague. It's easy to fill out and it doesn't call for a lot of detail. Couple of discussions I've had with Mr. Zeman lately is he really went after it as a rough order of magnitude. What he would need to fill the fire suppression tanks, to get the closed system filled with water, and then to start production sometime in the future. In the latest conversation I had with him, he narrowed it down quite a bit. He did let me know that he was kind of looking for some flexibility up front as they work the systems out a little bit. But he seems to be very confident in the fact that it will be, I think, 1,000 to 1,500 gallons of water usage per month in a year or half a year or something like that. But sustained going into the future, he feels it'll be 1,000 to 1,500 gallons per month. They've invested a lot of money in this, a lot more than I realized. They put a lot of hardware in the facility already to get things started. I really don't think they're going anywhere. They initially forecasted 35 high-paying jobs. They're now at 45 or 46 forecasted high-paying jobs. And a very conservative estimate based on, again, conversation with Mr. Zaid, is they will, for all intents and purposes, be giving us between, I think, 250,000 to 400,000 or more gallons per month in basically uncertified but distilled water. There's going to be a trade-off there. If everything pans out the way that the math is showing, they will give us back far more water than they will use. And in the aggregate, in the out months, they'll give us back 10, 20, 30, 100-fold water that they will ever use in the out years. So if that pans out and that math is realistic, it's actually a good deal for the city. It will take some doing. We are going to all have to figure out how to take distilled water and put it in the best system. We don't want to put distilled water in the wastewater treatment plant. It doesn't work like that. We don't want clean water in the wastewater treatment plant because it doesn't feed the bugs. But initial looks like we can take the distilled water, it's not certified because whatnot, and put it into possibly the water treatment facility. So we have a wastewater treatment plant, but we have a water treatment plant. So if we can take this distilled water and put it into our supply and then treat it, I mean, they're looking at giving us up to and maybe more than 40 million gallons per year, which is the equivalent of a month or a month and a half of our well production. So we're looking at 8 to 10% of our daily use, our monthly use, our annual use being a byproduct that they would give to us. So over years, that's fairly substantial. So again, if that math pans out and the science behind it works, it's a good deal for the city.
Would you like to step forward and answer some of the records concerns?
So first and foremost, I think I need to clarify.
Would you, one, just for the record, state your name, please?
So Edward Zaidman, Managing Director, Libertas Global.
Thank you.
So I'd like to clarify with the water council. So our process does not take any grain. There's no grain in our process. 100% of that water comes from dairy facilities, which moves byproducts that contains lactose liquid, water which basically heat treated to pasteurized, that leaves that facility. From Roswell to Lubbock, approximately 8.5 billion pounds of that liquids generated throughout the year. We're gonna be taking about 2.5 billion pounds of that out of the market. Once we get that water, so basically our raw material, like compared to grains that require milling, require jet cooking, which requires a lot of water. In our case, there's no water usage at all, right? So because we're getting liquid feedstock trucked into us, just similar to just like milk, you know. So once we extract the elements out of that water, which basically mostly it's lactose, phosphorus, and some nutrients there. We ferment lactose into ethanol. Phosphorus is one of the nutrients that we process. So all we have left is with minerals. So once that water with minerals passes distillation, we remove all that water. That water passes through two stages of mechanical separation, which first is centrifugal. It takes out any suspended solids, and then it goes to reverse osmosis and bowel. It takes out any remaining dissolved solids. In other words, we are able to generate pretty much zero water. Obviously, I'm not going to do that because that's kind of a negative effect, but we able to control amount of minerals from game. So that water could be drinkable, of course. But obviously, you know, being an ethanol facility, I don't think we'll be able to certify that water as a drinkable water, unfortunately. So sanitary water we have to take for human consumption. In the future, if there's an opportunity with USDA and FDA, they'll say, you know what, you can certify your water as a drinking water. We don't have to take a dime, I mean, a gram of water at all. But as a math, the water comes in, water come out, right? If we're getting a feedstock in liquid form, that feedstock in liquid form needs to come out regardless. So if we're taking at our full capacity, 44 tankers a day, which is roughly 268,000 gallons of liquid, that liquid needs to come out somewhere. So that's why you know, and again, and I do apologize, you said the numbers are changing. So when I put those numbers initially, I didn't think that I guess our intake much matter because we give that a lot more water than we take. So that's where I guess that disconnect came from, right? And I didn't realize how important that is for, you know, for you to have a clear vision that it is simple industrial use. We discount 2,000 to 3,000 gallons a month for sanitary water, but everything else is 100% internal. We do have ability to evaporate pretty much 90% according to our engineers. So I mean, we can choose to, like, if if town say, hey, look, we don't know what to do with this water. So we have capabilities of evaporating 90%. But it's just makes absolutely zero sense because it is going to be clean water. That goes back, and it's, according to our calculations, it could be between 10 to 20% of the yearly town use of that water. So basically that's the range. And right now we brought a company who is one of the lead companies in the United States that would turn around to the ethanol plants. Basically, they're going to be in charge of our retrofit, startup, and optimization for the next year. So they did push back my assumptions of a startup. I think about 9 to 10 months. So in reality, right now, all we're asking is just standard, like a couple thousand gallon use Because we're bringing a lot of crew people on site and they really need to use instead of water. Other than that, we really need, fill up a fire suppression tank, which is 100,000 gallons. And, that tank needs to be full because we need to start testing the fire loop and make sure that all the hydrants keep the pressure and they all seal and tight. Other than that, for the next 9 months, we just have a regular, sanitary use until we figure it out, how do we get to a start. The startup, again, unfortunately, the water requires not as much as for, fermentation, but more for boiler and cooling, right? Because we need to fuel the boiler, and boiler start basically generating steam. So we need to have that boiler makeup water to operate for the first at least month until we build up all the liquids that are coming into the facility. We'll be able to recapture, store, and switch over to our water. So we literally can't escape that. Unfortunately, and when you say like we've been buying water, we've been taking water right now, and yeah, we could probably do similar. We can do some of it. I mean, we can't do all of it. And it gets extremely expensive, but we can do some of it. If it's a disaster or bottleneck, obviously we have to start the facility, and we're not going anywhere. We did invest over $4 million today. So far, and again, we're as Scott mentioned, we're increased job intake to 46 people now. After our engineering, thermalization of our engineering. So that's what we're asking. Today, right now at this meeting, I think the most important that we get sanitary water for human consumption for the workers on site. We can reconvene 9 months after, or 6 or 7 months after, and say, hey, how do we realistically see us getting that water? Whether we do it part by part, we spread that water over a certain period of time. Obviously not to do any stress in the system. I mean, we can decide this together. Obviously, we're here together, work together. Obviously, we want to get that facility up and running. And we are extremely flexible. So whichever way we decide to do this collectively, we'll follow your lead in other words. But at this time, I mean, it's basically a simple request for just a couple thousand gallons for orders and stuff.
So I'm just still trying to get my head wrapped around the big ask for the tanks.
Sure.
So that's not gonna be for 9 months till you
At least for that.
till you even fill the first tank.
Correct.
So is there a way that could be filled gradually over those 9 months?
Yes.
In other words, a much smaller amount, but over 9 months, it won't be such a drain on our
100%.
system.
100%.
So that's something you have to work out with the city manager and the water department.
We have about 1 million. We have 1.2 million gallon capacity of storage capacity, which we can hold. I don't think we can hold more than that. We're gonna need, once we start taking the raw materials, we're gonna need 800,000 gallons for raw material intake. So that means like 1 million gallons we can accumulate in the hole. Well, plus other smaller tanks. I don't think we will be able to get that much, accumulate and hold that much. But we can do everything in our power. Basically, once we start, if we can get that, switch to our water faster, there's no question. We're not just going to be taking water just because. And besides, we don't really need it, hypothetically, right? Once we get our feedstock, we're gonna have tons of water. We're gonna be filled with water. So we want that water out. We don't want to take that water, more water than we can. So that's what we are. So we could figure it out, some kind of a program where we gradually kind of fill and accumulate and hold. That's a possibility, but I don't think we can do all. I'd say probably about 40-50%. We can hold all the time.
And have we resolved whoever or whatever was responsible for the water meter issues?
So the water meter, to be honest, I mean,
It's my apologies, but it's a mystery because our contractor that's on site is actually a guy who's been, doing all the work in the city in Clovis, and his father's inspector. So when somebody told me that he cut the lock, I mean, I couldn't imagine that happening. So it's unfortunately a mystery, and I questioned him many times, and I think he was here at one of the meetings as well, and he knows better, not to cut the lock. So personally, I don't even know what the lock is, to be honest. Yeah, but the way I was explained that they were testing for leaks, and they found a leak. They fixed about 4 or 5 different leaks, and my understanding it was a back check on one of the valves that seems to be continually leaking. So either they didn't close, they didn't shut that valve, and it was leaked down in some place. That might have been happened, most likely. But and again, we haven't touched anything since then. We've been bringing water, taker water right now, and we've been actually reusing the water that's sitting in the pond in the back. We've been treating that and reusing that for continue looking for the leaks. And I think we pretty much, if I'm not mistaken, Max, if I'm not mistaken, we're almost done, right? I think we're pretty much done. It's just the only thing left test is the firewood. And the firewood, to test the firewood, we can do that take with create that pressure.
Any other questions?
I don't have any more for him. I have some for the city manager Wayne's talking about.
So you're saying that the fire suppression tank holds about 100,000 gallons? You're just looking to fill that once?
Yes, correct. We don't need to do anything.
So where would your other usage be for the other?
Boiler field, boiler makeup, and cooling and cooling. Because you get the evaporation by cooling, and it's about 6 to 8 gallons per minute,
Right.
which we can escape at the startup. Plus the boiler makeup is about 12 gallons per minute.
But that's not until later in the process.
Yes, correct. No.
So basically, you're just gonna be using a couple of thousand gallons a month until you fill the tank for fire suppression. Once you get that 100,000 gallons in there, it's gonna cut back to the couple of thousand a month until you get ready to fire up the boiler.
Correct.
Further question? I'm sorry.
I'm still going back to the waste. The water usage, I don't have any problem with. I think that you might be responsible about the water usage up to that point. My concern is when you're using reverse osmosis, you take salts and minerals out of the water. What are you doing with those?
That mixed together with the protein, so that's liquidated.
Okay, so you're gonna make a byproduct,
Correct.
sort of like the DDG that was off of the drain.
Correct, but much more powder.
Okay. And is there any other waste that you're producing that's gonna be have to go somewhere?
None whatsoever.
So you're gonna completely use all of your waste
We are
in
using
the plant.
correct feedstock to 100%.
Are you aware of any other process that completely uses all their waste?
No, so in this industry, for sure. So
And back to the question that I had asked last time about the fermentation. From what I've found out by looking into it, it's pretty common for a fermentation tank to go that. And my question was, what are you going to do with that if that happens? And your answer was that you were going to do this. Basically, you're putting stuff into the tank in small scale batches of 400 gallons or less. But if you don't catch a batch and it goes in there and the whole tank ruins, what are you going to do with that?
That product will be fermented multiple times. The main issue that happens with what's called faulty fermentation in our case is temperature, overheating, and killing the yeast. So the yeast will die, but the lactose remains untouched. So in other words, we would have to pitch it again and again until we have a complete fermentation. Versus the grain works a little different because grain you first have to jet cool, right? So you have to get the enzymatic process, and we don't have that. So the most issues comes between enzymatic process and fermentation and the grain ethanol. Obviously, they nailed down at this point, in which it's all automated, and they've got they got that to almost zero fault. And in our case, it's a lot more laid back because we don't have any enzymes, so it's purely yeast, right? And yeast survives in certain conditions, right? If it overheats, it dies. So we really have to feed it again. So we don't lose fermentation. But in order even to escape that, we always start on as I mentioned, we always start on a smaller scale because our process is batch continuous. So what we monitor for is getting a certain amount of live culture of yeast retains over a certain period of time. We're looking for biological activity. If we see that at some point a biological activity slows down or it's not there where we'll have a successful fermenter, then we'll typically we'll either recharge or pull back. Once in fermentation, we just watch and pull it. We don't. I mean, we haven't been in a situation yet where we lost entire fermenter. But I think the other things that we look at, it's also so let's say there's 200,000 gallons. Something did happen. Okay, and we have it is what it is. It happened. We can always charge it with either off-spec ethanol or whatever the products are that we can just put it to put it into storage. So there's no in other words, we don't need to take that and pull it somewhere to figure out where the hell we're gonna go. We can always find use for it regardless of what that state is. Lastly, having enough of reverse osmosis potential where there's a proteins, any proteins that retain or remain in that feed always becomes an animal for us as a byproduct. And typically any yeast activity generates probiotic acid. Therefore, anything that will derive from that fermenter, even if it's didn't generate us enough ethanol, for example, it still becomes feed. So we've got at least 3-4 ways of taking care of this situation.
Where's the closest plant that does this same process?
I'd say in New York, and there's one in Minnesota.
Whenever you go and apply for your permits with the state, do you have to prove the process? Do you have to do any of that? Correct. The questions that I'm asking you about the waste byproduct and all that, you have to answer all that.
Absolutely. And the license is already obtained.
Okay.
The only license that we still doing at Solar Miller Engineering is doing that, it's the air permit.
Okay.
Any more questions for this
I have
gentleman?
one question.
Okay.
First, I apologize for being late, but I had a situation at the bus yard late. Feel like I just went through another organic chemistry class.
Excellent.
And I made a C+ though. So that I did understand the process. But you haven't said anything about the waste water that's going into would in that water go to our sewer plant, wastewater treatment plant, and are we able, Mr. Mitten, to contain the water that may come from them? The waste.
The tentative answer is yes. Initially, it looks like it, and I'm just reading some stuff behind it, but I believe that we can do that. So he's talking about a substantial amount. He's talking about 400,000 gallons, I believe. That's an average number per month. And when we look at that as 4 million plus gallons per year, that's 8 to 10% of the water that we use. So that's substantial. So yeah, initial look at some of the research, it says absolutely. The water referred to as distilled water using whey products, and I'm looking up here, says it's referred to as stillage. But it isn't automatically necessarily safe for drinking, but it can absolutely be turned into drinking water.
Sorry, I just was informed, we already discussed it, so I'm catching my mind.
Between then and now, I did a little more research, so I just wanted to share that.
Okay.
So you got a little more. Is that it?
Yes, it-
Okay. Okay, Mr. Rackler, you had other questions. Does anybody else have any questions for this gentleman? No. Okay.
My only question on our end is what guarantees do we have on any of these things coming to fruition? And as we get all these tanks full, we get these guys up and running, and then we don't have that. Because a lot of the vote's gonna come down to me, and the reason I voted affirmative last time is because of the jobs, because I think we've got to get our city going again. The second thing, though, is the water we were gonna get. But I don't know how we ever have any protection or guarantee that we're gonna get that. That's what I'm concerned about. Or that we stay within the 2,000 or 3,000 a month thing.
I think that's a fair question. And you know, if I was doing this as a business paper or something like this, I would have to ask myself, what is it that what's the first thing we're trying to get out of this? So are we trying to get water out of this company? I think that's awesome if we do, but I don't think that's our first motivator. I think the first motivator is a company's coming in using a piece of junk that we have and turning it into, you know, a Crystal Palace, if you will, that produces GRT and other things and jobs and 45 jobs for the city. I think that's the first motivator. I think if we didn't get any water whatsoever out of it, we would still be in the win, well within the win category. Okay. If we get water out of this and it is at the magnitude that Mr. Zabin and his company that he represents is talking about, I think that's a windfall. When I look at it and started to look at it from that aspect, this means a lot to me. That's that water. I mean, it's just huge when you talk about that many gallons per year and the well equivalent. Not the well is, and I feel good, but as in the numbers of wells we have, that would compete with some of the better wells we have in the well field. So, you know, that would be incredible. So objective one is to get a company like this going, those jobs and that GRT and whatnot that comes with it. But if this comes out of it, and there is no guarantee right now, we have to put those guarantees in place. But the first guarantee is those 45 people working and that eyesore of a plant being productive, and the revenue and the trucking and everything that comes with it. That's number one. Number two, we'll have to work on it. And that's the best, you know, the answer I can give you right now.
So I thought somebody mentioned it earlier. I think that I won't be here, Diane won't be here, but I think you come back and revisit this in a few months and and get an update on how this is progressing and where they're at, and maybe filling part of that tank up. Are they sticking pretty close to the 2,000-3,000 gallons a month?
Yeah, I would like to see us put in this proposal when we vote again, that we revisit it in 6 months.
I mean,
If that's doable.
that would be doable.
And they can come back by then and tell us what the progress is like. We can look at how much water we've been using.
We're talking about for the larger field.
Yeah.
Not for the regular water.
Right, no, but are you staying within the 2,000 to 3,000?
Understood.
And then how's your progress on getting the thing up and running? We need the jobs, and that was my biggest motivator the first time. But we have to do our due diligence too. I've learned a lot tonight and I feel a lot better about it, but I needed that.
I think that it would be very proper to revisit this in a few months and get updates regularly on the progress of how the process is going, how the water use is doing, and and all that. I think that'd be very.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much. And it totally makes sense. And maybe to address, I mean, obviously there's no guarantees, but so if we don't give water back, that means we just not run. Because once we start running, we don't have a choice to get that water out of the facility. Because we just gonna be filled up with water, not knowing where it's going. So we get set feedstock, then we basically stop a bunch of water, then we can. So that's, I mean.
Makes
It was a little bit more better.
It's all logical still.
Yeah, we are starting starting the process. Now, so
It's all logical, and I don't mean any disrespect to you guys, it's just a risk for the city, and it's a lot of weight to be the one to make those decisions, and I try to make sure I have all the information needed to do that. Okay, thank you for your time.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a comment. We appreciate it very much for you coming tonight and explaining. I think a lot of us understand it a little bit more. But to Mr. Minton too, I appreciate you very much for basically saying it in layman's terms to where we can understand and basically put it into perspective, because we're talking about this big company coming in and doing the whole process. But you know, and how it feels for us and what we're going to do and how we're going to benefit from is kind of what you are looking at it from a different view. Like, this building that's been there for empty for so many years, and now we're going to come in and do something with it, provide jobs for us and get us going. And if we were to get water, that's just going to be an added plus. So I appreciate you too for doing the research and what you're doing too, but thank you very much.
thank you so much. And, yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
I heard gross receipts tax mentioned, and that was something that was pretty big on my bait. We need a gross receipts off of your business. Do we have any idea what that estimated gross receipts would be?
I don't know right now.
In our full operating year, we should be about 80 million revenue.
80 million? And we'll be looking at 8% on that?
8.5, pretty close. I mean,
Yeah.
we wouldn't get the 8, we wouldn't get the 8.
But it would be
we
collected
Get
in it.
our portion of that 8.5. And the other thing that is going on is any construction repairs or any things like that that's going on, that GRT, regardless of where the company's from,
Yes, sir.
should be paid within this community.
Absolutely.
So,
And to think, just to add a piece on this, now you're trucking or railing all this ethanol out
Ethanol rate.
on rail?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, again, it's, we're looking to stay in state. Wholesale's looking to stay in state. New Mexico purchases 105 million gallons of ethanol every year without any production. So we, I would take about 25% market share of that. Also, we kind of follow along with all the cleaning programs that New Mexico implements. So New Mexico currently implementing low carbon fuel standard system, which reduces and decarbonizing transportation. So we basically kind of walking into this program, which, you know, right now working in California, Oregon, and Washington.
Oregon too, I believe.
So we're kind of working, you know, together with the state, you know, on this, and also carbon reduction for you know, dairy plants as well. So it's kind of it's all in all benefit, you know, financial and environmental bit. You know, and again, it's all state and state.
Right.
Feed, liquid feed is going to go to local farms.
If my numbers are correct, $80 million, we're looking at our portion of $6.5 million. That's a substantial number. Great.
As you mentioned with the clean fuel standards that they're working on the rules right now.
Yes.
And I don't think there's any place in New Mexico that they can, you know, they can get that fuel or they can get that product to blend to meet that standard. So,
Right.
I mean, they're here at the right time.
Right. Thank you.
So
So what's,
I make a motion to approve the permit for the use of the facility with another convene in 6 months to get a progress report on how things are going.
Can I ask a question before we get a second on that? is there any guarantee that if they need more help?
Properly, I need a second to go into discussion and then you can ask the question.
Second.
Okay, now you can ask the question. Sorry.
I was gonna ask, what guarantees do we have on the city side as far as protecting our water if they do go over? What parameters do we have? Is that the 2,000 to 3,000? I mean, we're going in good faith, or we're putting us in a precarious situation where we're guaranteed a lawsuit if they go over? What? Take the meter away? What? I feel like we don't have a good crystal clear method of handling that, but
I think that's, I mean, if I could answer that, Rustin, I think that getting an update in 6 months that you could reconsider this entire thing. Right? If within 6 months, they're not holding to that. Or I think if Mr. Mitten comes to the council in 3 months and says, man, they're doing this, this, and this, I think the council then can come back and reconsider how they want to handle that from that point forward.
Okay.
So in a way, it is good faith, but you got the backstop of coming back with an update. And you could even request an update sooner than that.
Me personally, I'm pretty comfortable on our side. I'm comfortable with the numbers that he's talking about, that we're talking about to get started. With having the employees on hand to get the facility up, running, geared towards that first 9 months. And then to get the fire suppression system, which I feel a lot more comfortable having a functional fire suppression system in there. So I was real happy when we were talking about that earlier this week. But I think that the worst case, it would go a full billing cycle of a month. And then at the water department, we would know if they were grossly out of their estimate. So if we're looking at 1,000 to 2,000 gallons per month, and it showed it up at 6, 8, 10, or 20,000 gallons, then I think that would give us an open gate to approach the company and kind of ask what's going on. And in that case, they may know, or they might not know. They could even have a leak or something like that, unless we had leak detection in there, which I'm not even going to go down that road right now. But it would give us an indicator from month to month, and the worst one would be 30 days out, worst case scenario, and be able to take a look and see what's up. So I'm kind of okay with that if you guys are okay.
That answer your question?
yes, thank you.
All right. So the motion is to grant the permit based on the numbers that we've talked about and have them come back and give an update no later than 6 months. Okay. Everybody understand that motion? Seconded by Diane, Ms. Parker, sorry.
Yes.
Do we want to try this on a voice vote or do we need to do a roll call?
You say this to go.
Let's do a roll call.
Okay. Ms. Cordova is absent, so Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Meredith,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Rackler,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
and Mr. Self.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Okay, move on to our next item. It's community services. Ms. McClellan, request governing body's approval to proceed with dangerous property abatement of resolution number 2025-11, determining 824 East Elm Street as dangerous property. 90-day abatement period ended on November 29th, 2025.
Mayor Council, I'm gonna mix up here. So we submit this about a month in advance. But we go ahead and the day before or the day of council, we will go do another one. So when we submitted this, our recommendation was to move forward with enforcement, force cleanup. But as you can see with the extra we brought in today, it was presented to yesterday. Our recommendations actually changed to remove this property from the dangerous list. Ms. Laura and I discussed it. We did a scope of work, what would we be asking to remove? They remove the trash, there's no weeds, there's no abandoned cars. So I believe this property is ready to come off the dangerous process. I'm not moving forward with it anymore, but I'm here for any questions you may have.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I just want to say I appreciate your work on all this, and I know there's a certain amount of frustration to go through in my business, I know, because you go through a certain amount of work and then whatever you're working on gets resolved and you just have to accept that. And I think that's what we're doing here. I think they've made a huge effort from the pictures to try to get it cleaned up, and I appreciate that. I think you've done a ton of work, and I'm totally on board with taking it off of it.
Any other questions for Ms. McClung? So your request is to remove this property from the danger project. Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Move that motion. I'd like to make that motion because that's a property that I know the people. So I'd like to make that motion. We move it off the property list.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Robinson, second by Mr. Rackler. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you for your efforts, guys. Appreciate that. Finance Department, Ms. Rivera, governing body's approval of resolution 2025-49, approving the budget adjustments for FY 25-26 Q2 budget adjustment as submitted to DFA.
Adjustments are shown on page 29 of your agenda packet. And before you, we have a lengthy page of budget adjustments for your approval. Budget adjustments are, as you know, a reoccurring process throughout the year as we capture changes for our current fiscal year budget. These budget adjustments were presented to our finance committee at the November 7th meeting. In summary, we won't go through each one because there's so many. Our budget adjustments consist mostly of grant funding in which we have been awarded and we will be expending this fiscal year. Significantly in our municipal streets fund, we'll see budget adjustments of $3.8 million to capture TPF funds that we were awarded. And then our capital outlay funding. We also have budget adjustments for a few insurance repair reimbursements, lodgers tax adjustments to capture approved FY 25 events that were approved and then paid in our current fiscal year. And then also to capture the approved events that lodgers tax meeting approved at their September 10th meeting. And finally, we have some fiscal year 25 budgeted items for equipment that will be expended in this fiscal year. That would be to the budget adjustment. So I will stand for any questions on the budget adjustments.
Questions for Ms. Rivera?
I would say that it did pass unanimously at finance.
Okay, thank you. So if there's no questions, what's the pleasure of the council?
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion for approval of resolution 2025-49. Swopes, will you call the roll?
Sir. Ms. Cordova is absent. Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes.
Mr. Merrick.
Yes.
Ms. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Rackler.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Mr. South.
Yes.
It carries.
Thank you. All right. Now we'll move on to infrastructure. Ms. McVeigh, governing body's approval of resolution 2025-50, adopting the 25 City of Portales bicycle and pedestrian master plan as a planning guide.
Good evening, council. So this evening I have Claire Haley from Bohannon, Houston on Zoom with us tonight also. So if you had any questions left over from the presentation that she did at the last council meeting, she's available for answering any of those questions. But we are presenting tonight a resolution asking to request the adoption of the pedestrian bicycle master plan as a planning guide. This would position us to be prepared for implementation of design should that opportunity arise. And also answer any questions.
And this is the plan that we went over at the last meeting, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Questions for Ms. McVeigh or Ms. Haley? If not, what's the pleasure of the council on this resolution 2025-50?
We're adopt.
Have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Robinson, second by Ms. Parker. Is there any further questions? Swopes, we call a roll, please.
Yes, sir. Ms. Cordova is absent. Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes.
Mr. Merrick,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Rackler,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
and Mr. Self.
Yes.
It carries.
Thank you, council.
Thank
Thank you, Ms. McVeigh.
you.
Now we're going to move on to Ms. Rudd, the city attorney, and it's the governing body's approval of resolution 2025-51, authorizing the mayor's signature on water purchase contract with Roosevelt County Water Cooperative for a period of 5 years.
That resolution, we've talked quite a bit about the contract. This resolution will allow mayor to sign it. I would like to go that route so there's simultaneous signing of it with Mr. Rector and the city at the same time. And this resolution will allow us. I'll stand for any questions.
Okay, I have two. I have the contract and the resolution. The resolution calls for all of us to sign it. Okay, and then the contract is the mayor's signature, correct? And Mr. Rector. Okay,
And so we can all be on the same page moving forward, that everyone was aware of it and that has been signed by all.
questions for Ms. Rudd?
I would just like to comment, thank you for your work on this. It's been years in the works and several of us have worked on several committees to work on it. We appreciate the work by the co-op as well to try to get this resolved, and thank you all.
For the city, I think it's a huge step forward for us and I think for the co-op as well, so we're definitely looking forward to it.
Are any further questions for Ms. Rudd? What's the pleasure of the council on this resolution?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rackler, a second by Mr. Merrick. Ms. Swopes, please call the roll.
Sir. Ms. Cordova is absent. Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Merrick,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Rackler,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
and Mr. Self.
Yes.
It carries.
So do you want Mr. Rector to come sign right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think, you guys think? I think we're fine, we approved it at our meeting. If you guys hang out for just a minute and then get.
We'll wait. We'll wait. Yeah,
I know.
they might want to go home. They don't want to stick around here.
Here it is, right here, Leslie. I bet we can find you one. Yeah, I got Rustin and Jake to sign that page. When everybody else signs that. Way too long. That's all you needed to sign.
Yeah, I know, along.
Second sheet.
Bomb champagne. Good day.
Okay, Mr. Robinson wants.
Should be a second sheet down there.
All right, let's move now to Chief Kathy, the fire department, governing body's approval of FY 2027. Authorizing the mayor or Fund Act application. I'll let you go from there. Sorry.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a decent home run for us as a city. It's something that we apply for every year from the state. Requires an annual report that's included in your packet. If you have any questions on that, I can answer. But basically, we apply and the goal is to apply for what you need and put it on your application. That way, if you receive grant funding or Fund Act money, investing the change and approval. The total ask this year is quite a bit. $1.252 million. Based on the things that we've applied for grant money, supplies, and training that we need, so. But again, I'm asking for permission for the mayor's signature of mine, so that we can discuss. I'll send you the questions.
Questions? What do you usually get from the regular funding since they've increased the amount?
So the first year with the increase, we got 100,000. Last year, we received a little over 91, nearly 92,000. So I would anticipate somewhere between 90 to 100,000. FY27.
It's quite a bit better than the old 18,000 or
Yes,
something.
sir. We have no problem spending it.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Any further questions for the chief?
Thank you for all your work on that. That was took a long read to get through that.
Nice Christmas wish list.
Absolutely.
Well said.
It's a lot nicer than it was back when the cap was $20,000. So anyway, pleasure to council on this request.
Move for approval.
Okay, I'm going to take Mr. Merrick's motion and I'll take Ms. Parker's second.
Thank you.
If there's no further questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. That motion carries. Last action item is the police department, Chief Williams, governing body's approval of Portales Police Department's retention and recruitment strategy that includes a symmetric manning and within budget pay scale modification.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Yes, I am seeking your approval of these modifications. Like to just try to shoot through the PowerPoints that you guys had it, and then we can try to hit any questions if there are any. Hopefully there's not, but first, there we go. So what we're proposing is a strategy to retain and onboard officers and recruit at least 4 certified officers. Since we started this, we have 1 in the queue already. So our priority is retention, of course, because we've already got all these people we've invested in and they've invested in us, and we want to keep them. Then recruitment, because that's been our struggle for the last decade. And then positive and active officers. The active officers that are positive out there being proactive, working, preventing crime. That's what we want up there. Next complete. So our neighbors are after our people. And that was at the behavioral health thing earlier today. And what do? Start trying to recruit. Luckily, just myself, but one of our others who's not interested. They are coming after our people. They're seeking them out and trying to get them to go work up there. They wouldn't even have to move or anything else. Next one. So this ensures that the police department can stay within our annual budget and reduce the motivation for these guys to want to go to another department that's heavier staff to reduce their workload. So we're not asking for any more money. We're asking to just update our pay scale so that we can be competitive with these other agencies in the area. Next one, please. Why? We don't want these people to change police departments. If they did, what's keeping them here is they're already tenured, they've already established themselves, they've got their sick leave, their vacation, their seniority, all that they would have to give up, but they're willing to do that for more money in some cases. We want to be able to recruit some certified officers from elsewhere. We want good quality people here. The best ones are the ones that we can get out there on the streets and work turnaround versus 9 months to a year for an uncertified officer. We want to be competitive and be able to do that. We want to be able to let these people take their time off and actually use it and not have it build up to where we have to pay it out at the end of the year, which means they can rest and make it to their court appointments on time. Because when we have them working nights and then trying to get to a court 4 hours after they get off, they have to have them work 12-hour shifts more for the last couple of days. We have those types of things. Because we want to keep our employees and take care of them. We want to provide the opportunities for them to be able to attend advanced training. We're like that right now. Bare minimum, everybody's working to cover the streets on a regular basis. So, we'll free people up to go to training. It means somebody has to work overtime to fill that shift. how can we make this work? It's simple. We're just managing what we have in our budget currently. So that we can do this. It's gonna be a reduction of 3 positions for the time being that we won't fill in order to get this plan in place. Right now, our vacancies are, we have a deputy chief spot vacant, a lieutenant spot vacant, and a sergeant spot vacant. That's also helping to free up more money this budget, because those are higher paying positions in the department. And then the remaining vacant positions are all patrol officers and a detective position. So when funding becomes available, whether it be the GRT increase, when we look at everything else, or we apply for grant funding as we have in the past to help add those positions back in. And it's not going to impact the services because it is currently those vacant positions are not. Self, Captain Lunan have been busting our humps. He's been working great shifts and everything else to make things work. You know, we're out here making it happen. Next one, please. And yes, it's within our current budget. We got the same pot. We just want to plug a couple of holes for the time being to make it go a little better for everybody. This also includes the different aspects of the pay. Para, the retirement, taxes, all of that will all still be within the current budget. And of course, it doesn't impact our civilian staff or any of the other departments within the city. So this is how it is sustainable. We're willing to make those sacrifices. And I say we because I've talked to them all. Some of them more lengthy than others, and we feel that this is a reasonable solution to a problem we have today. And so, you know, the bottom line is, you know, this is what we feel is going to have to happen to try to retain who we have today. And so we can try to recruit some more of these officers that are out there. These guys are actively trying to find people to come work with us. Requiring no changes to the budget. It's just changing the pay plan. So there's no budget adjustments, no nothing. Employees all understand what it means. They understand that we won't be able to try to fill positions that have been vacant for some time. And they know that if the time comes when we're able to reevaluate for the whole rest of the city, it's not going to mean that they're going to get a bigger pay raise when we go to bed. This is what we're at. There's more money for us at the end of the day when we evaluate the PRT. We'll add positions back. We're not going to bump their pay up even more. And then hopefully by getting people on, we reduce the amount of overtime we're having to have these guys work. So that's money that's being spent at time and a half for them to cover shifts, as well as time they don't get off. And then when they're not getting off, we're having burnout. I mean, this last pay period, I had at least 2 employees with almost 40 hours overtime. So, and it helps us become immediately competitive with these other agencies in the area. So I'll open it up to any questions.
Questions for Chief?
Mr. Mayor, just a couple.
Sure.
So your comment on the rest and the being able to go to training is based on the assumption that you're going to get those 4 that you want filled. Because you're not changing anything by getting paid more if we don't get those filled, correct?
We need bodies in place.
To do those 2 things, get the rest, the time off and the extra time to go train.
We have one
I
officer.
just want to make sure we're clear on it. It's not solved until we get some of those positions filled that we're still going to fill.
We've got a little bit of breathing room coming Friday. We have one in the academy graduates Friday. He should be on his own before the end of the month. That's going to help us significantly. We got another one who's set for the next academy that's going to start in February, but we're talking June before each one would be of use. Therefore, being able to stop the people wanting to leave because,
Yeah,
you know, It's like, oh, if all we can get is uncertified officers, then we're looking at almost a year before they can help. A year's a long way to wait when you're having to work a lot.
So the other question was pretty much more for cities, other city staff, but it's more about a process question. When this comes before us, I assume this has kind of got the city managers and the finance department's approval, or we wouldn't be doing that. Is
That's a
that
good
an
assumption,
assumption?
yes.
Is that an assumption that's true to make, or am I making an assumption?
No, you're on point.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You're specifically saying you are wanting to look at certified officers. That's the key word there. Uncertified officers, how much does it cost the city to send someone to become certified?
That, yeah, we would have to calculate the true cost by the cost of the officer training that person every day and everything else, but academy, getting their equipment that we have to get a vest just for them. We can't give them just a hand-me-down psychological, physical, and the academy cost is roughly $6,000.
6,000. And it takes how long when they go to?
17 weeks.
Okay. So getting somebody that's certified to come from another department to our department is a really big advantage.
It's a
So-
huge advantage.
Okay.
Because if I hired somebody today, I would not be able to get them into an academy until next August.
Oh,
There's
okay.
only 2 a year. And every one of them in the state operates on the same roughly time frame.
They're just in one, is it just one area or is it just in Santa Fe? Or where is the
There's
academy?
Santa Fe, there are several of them scattered throughout the state.
Okay.
Working with Chief Malden to try to solve some of that. It's he's in the university here, trying to start an academy here. But, I mean, that's just where it is. If I hire an uncertified officer today, I can't send them to an academy until August.
So the cost is almost a year's salary. We hire somebody, $6,000 upfront plus a year's salary by the time they're in a patrol unit by themselves.
Very good. I know we've been working on this for many, many years and it's always been, so-and-so pays more, so they'll jump over there, then so-and-so pays more, then they'll jump over there. So for the benefit of the officers too, I mean, going from department to department because of the pay, and it's all about the pay.
Right.
And it's about retaining them. And then even when we send them to academy and they become certified, there's that problem of we've just paid all this money out to get this officer certified. Now we have to retain him. Are they still trying to keep them for a certain amount of time?
Still put them on contract.
Okay,
But then we get the money back, but we don't have.
a body,
A
a
body.
person.
Very
Okay. Very good.
And,
Thank you.
and to Mr. Rackler's question, and to a certain extent, to Ms. Parker's question, something I learned during this process of what it cost and so on and so forth. I learned that there are some law enforcement agencies in the immediate area that haven't sent anyone to an academy in almost 10 years. So really their business model is to let the other municipalities hire them on, train them, employ them, get them experiential knowledge, and then they recruit them. And that's squarely in our footprint. And that's one of the things that we have to take into consideration.
Thank you.
Further questions for the chief?
The administrative positions that you're talking about, what were their duties?
Well, the sergeant's the first line supervisor. That's kind of an important one, but we can't fill those positions even if we wanted to today because we don't have anybody at the bottom to pull them from. So that's a big reason why we can't fill them. But the first line supervisor, sergeant, approving reports, managing the shift, time off, court, making adjustments as needed. You know, somebody calls it sick. All of those kind of day-to-day duties that are there, as well as helping make some decisions in the middle of the night that a young officer may not be able to make based on their experience and such. The lieutenant was the, you know, it's, oh, here's some more experience. Here's somebody who's got a lot more knowledge. They're doing a lot of the administrative, because believe it or not, there's a ton of reporting that we have to do for the state, for the federal government, and different things like that. Currently, Captain Lujan's absorb those duties. Things such as maintaining our fleet, managing our Safer New Mexico traffic grant. Sergeant Sanchez has been picking up a lot of that slack on that one. Making sure we do evidence room audits, so we keep me out of prison and the city out of liability. I mean, there's just an abundance of different things that go on there with that position. And then, of course, the deputy chief would be making sure everything below is handled and helping me with the day-to-day if I'm in Santa Fe or a variety of other different things.
So that just means that the ones that you still have in place, the higher ups are just absorbing more of what those underneath, directly underneath them do.
Yes, sir. Myself, Captain Lubon, and sergeants have, we've been absorbing it for a while now. I guess it's been really difficult for him, especially because he's been out covering shifts, working grave shift, trying to manage everything else. And then when we're out there on the streets, it means we're also going to wind up in court, which means it's going to interfere with getting other things.
Well, are you? No.
I have a comment. I really enjoyed listening to that process, what you just went through. Take me back to old personnel management. That's a great job. And I'm sure that you and Jenna sit down and Mr. Mitten sit down and cross the i's and t's in this plan, and it should work. And I hope it will stop the revolving door concept. And if it works, it will.
Well, keeping it working hasn't been me. It's been all of them willing to make those sacrifices, step up. Got it.
So kudos to them who want to stay. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, sir.
Big fan.
Any more questions, comments?
I got a question. I just know that you guys need a raise. That's all.
They agree. And in this whole process, I am not included in this pay scale. So this does not include me. So
Further questions? Pleasure of the council on this.
I move for approval.
Second.
Okay, motion. Motion by Ms. Parker, second by Ms. Robinson. Any further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to city council and staff comments. I'll start with, well, before you sit down, you have any other comments? I mean, you just took up 3 hours, but that's okay.
At least I tried to blow. I've got Ms. Combs' report from dispatch, so I'll go to it first. So 8 out of 10 positions are filled. She says we're conducting interviews tomorrow, hopefully fill the last 2 positions. 2 dispatchers in her in-house academy. She has 2 that will finish the in-house academy in December to go to telecommunicators academy in January. And in November, they handled 1,446 calls for service and received 3,513 phone calls. Keep mine pretty sweet. We have 6 uncertified applicants that we're in the testing process with. We've got 1 certified applicant that is in the background process at this time. Last month, we handled 739 of Ms. Combs' 1,446 calls, 22 of which were crashes. They made 21 arrests and had 109 incident reports. And I want to brag on our detectives here. They just recovered essentially an entire household of furniture that was taken from a burglary earlier.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, it's hard to see that back row. Ms. Rudd, have anything?
Reporter, default judgment on that today, so this is the order. In the event the judge finds it, we will not have to go back to court. The order includes provisions for us to go on the premises, demolish it, place the lien, and then foreclose on the property if we would like to. So this judge signs off on that, the church will be ready for demolition. In the event she doesn't find it, I imagine she'll set a hearing, but there would be no one to go on the other side, so I anticipate that getting.
Thank you. Antoinette? Yeah.
Yes, sir. I just let you know that we've had no workers' comp, claims from last November. We had 2 short claims that are still pending. I am planning on doing a year roundup, meeting with department heads so we can see what are the most common types of short claims or workers' comp claims, so we can work on addressing those for the next year to prevent these type of things happening. Currently, I'm doing a lot of follow-up with the safety tour that we did. The wastewater treatment plant had an excellent lockout tagout program, so I'm working this month trying to get at least the equipment in. And I've been working with the self-insurance fund to get in-person training. I want to be able to do a program starting next year for either a monthly or quarterly in-person training course that allows them to come in and just focus on one particular thing and not have to have one of those. But we'll try to work on that and get a more safety culture in the city. Next month, the hazard mitigation plan, it actually did go through FEMA. It was one of the ones that was being addressed and the FEMA approved. They sent it back to the city. So hopefully the first meeting of next month, we'll be able to get it in front of you guys to approve for the city and have it 5 months.
Thank you. IT?
Stats for the IT department, the month of November, we had 1,301 tech tickets. We are still rolling out the new phone system. We worked on two servers. We've been migrating to 2022. We put 10 alarms in 2 server rooms that we're having issues with, and we're working on a refresh of the webpage.
Thank you. Chief?
Yes, sir. There's been no changes to our staffing at this time. We still have 7 personnel in EMS classes, 5 of which they will do the finals at the end of this month. 8 of our fire apparatus are in service, 5 of our 6 ambulances are in service. Last month, we had 245 calls for service, 87% were EMS, 13% were fire. Response times are still double the NFPA standard. So far this year, we've had 2,909 total calls for service. Overran our response capability 716,000 times, 26.3%. I'll be presenting a staffing plan to council early in 2026, and we have our junior firefighter challenge coming up on Saturday, December 6th.
Thanks, sir. Are you gonna do HR today?
Yes.
Right. Well, hold on. I'm confused on where everybody's moving around to, so.
No, I'm still filling in the role a lot, but yes, you have the notes.
Okay, all right, so I'll go to public.
We currently, overall, the department's have about 12 positions open. We currently do have one that's in the hospital, but we get very for we do have a vacancy in Appalachian, so these are actually working pretty hard to help in front desk right now, so hopefully we'll get that filled pretty soon. We got
Thank you.
Jenna told me I had to talk slower, so and I'll take a deep breath. She said HR is budgeted for 2 positions. They have 1 vacancy, which I believe is Charles, the HR executive assistant. They're looking over applicants for the first review. They onboarded 4 new employees, 2 groundskeepers, streets equipment operator, and an animal control officer. The Employee Association Christmas party is on December 13th. The flyer is in your packet, and she asked that you RSVP by Wednesday, December 10th. And for the library, I've got different numbers for you this time. In the month of November, we ordered 267 physical items. That's a really big number for us, but November is a big publishing month, and December it falls off. We won't get near that many. So right now it's Christmas every week at the library APS. We circulated 2,354 physical items, 509 digital items, so like the online ebooks and the audiobooks. We hosted 20 programs, with 12 of them being for children, 5 adults, and 3 adult programs. And that's all I've got.
Thank you.
Just real quick, thanks to everybody who came to the shelters opening last time. It was a very large amount of people. So it's completely open. It's been well received by the community. Everyone's been there, really likes it. The van that we got donated should be here hopefully later this week. Side news, we just hit 50 approvals for our free spay and neuter, so that's 50 animals that will not be appropriated from the city of Portales, but we still have quite a few more vouchers to give away, so keep that in mind when you see people and send them our way. We are completely fully staffed for the first time in a long time, so there's no positions in the community services department. And then lastly, the demolition for the Appleton House on Lava Point is scheduled. We don't have an exact date, and we have 2 more forced cleanup scheduled, so having a full-time law enforcement officer has been really helpful as well. So,
Serena, finance.
Hey, in our finance team, there's no staffing changes, just a reminder that Charles is our new deputy finance director. And then, of course, under finance, we have our emergency management and risk management, Ms. Antoinette. And then infrastructure project administrator Joe McVeigh. And then public works project administrator Ms. Ashley Flores. We have for our procurement CPO and a payroll clerk. So there's 7 of us. And we're just working together to manage our grants. And then we'll be working with the emergency management to implement any risk mitigation policies, plans, update and such. So you may be seeing some of that soon. And then we are currently working on our audit, our financial audit. And then tentatively planning a finance committee for February. Hopefully there'll be new committee members and such. So we're going to wait till that happens and then stay open until later.
Thank you. Parks.
We don't have any changes in staff to talk about. We are working with HR in order to get a new position for an IPRA clerk and someone who can help with administrative duties. We're just working to keep transit running and keep municipal court working the way it's supposed to. So we're just grinding the wheels.
Mr. Mitt.
Busy, lot of meetings, a lot of coordination, and a lot of holiday events. And a lot of invitations to be judges. Thank you. Going to different places, and the senior center has a brand new shiny defibrillator that they're signing for and picking up tomorrow. Thanks to some great and hasty work from finance and fire department. That's all I have this evening.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Davis.
I'd just like to give my heartfelt thanks to both the police department and fire department. We know your work is difficult. We thank you very much for being willing to do the work. Take care of us.
Mr. Lopez.
I don't have any.
Mr. Stout.
I'd like to second what Steve said. Just thanks for all your hard work and appreciate you guys. And Chief, good job creating buy-in from your staff. Seeing everybody pretty much in attendance was, you got everybody buying, so good job.
Almost all of
Mr. Roberts.
I like to say that the lights downtown really looking good. I don't know if it's gonna go all the way west. Right there by the old city hall, and I noticed that on both sides of the street, the illumination is really good. And that, I know Miss Parker was gonna mention that, so I think it's gonna be good. But anyway, they were, and also to work on highway out there, taking those old trees down. I was gonna cut them down for you. But
We
you already
heard
cut
you
them
were
down.
going to cut it down.
But anyway, they that's good. That looks good. And I hope you're not gonna put any more back there. Cause
No.
it's hard to water that.
No, we pay $100,000 a year for that jet. We're not gonna cover it up with trees.
Okay, yeah.
That's a joke. We don't pay $100,000.
Yeah, I appreciate what's happening and it looks good. And I don't know if the Pelican gonna work. That's the sweet street sweeper.
Yeah.
You had it out and I don't know, I haven't seen it recently.
Mr. Gallegos test runs it now and then.
Okay. There was a comment made about I think the worst intersection in town, right here by El Rancho. Going back towards Doug. And to junior high. What is the plan on that?
I don't know what the plan is right now.
You don't have a plan.
Do you know, Pat?
We talk about the street.
Yeah, we talking about Chicago between Third and, yeah.
Yeah.
Plan right now is do another bill in that area and get that road pretty much squared away hopefully within the next few months, so it's in the works.
It's in the works.
Yes, sir.
That's good. That's it.
That's good. Mr. Rapp,
Shocker, I don't have anything to.
Ms. Parker.
I would like to also thank the police department and the fire department. You guys are awesome, and I know you always get the bad end of the deal, and you guys are just out there in the pavement, and we appreciate you very, very, very much. So thank you for being here and sticking to the program. Updates on the streets, finishing our projects.
Yeah, I don't, the line, truth in lending, I got my notebook ready and left it on my desk when I came here, so I don't have my line buys, but I'll give you an update. I'll send one to you.
Okay. Okay, very good. And right, and so I only have a couple more weeks, so I've got some stuff that I want to get taken care of, but I'll be getting with you on different lights and so forth, but I appreciate it very much.
Can't wait.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, that's all.
Just second what everybody said, appreciate the fire department and this police department, and what they do. I'd like to see us be able to get you both more money. And hopefully we can work that in in the near future, but. The other thing was, I was just gonna ask, do we have all of our legislative asks kind of lined up and ready to go? Where we can kind of hit our legislators on capital outlay money.
Yes, we're getting some feedback. I'm receiving some emails and we're receiving some feedback on that now. And as well as going by the last project lists that we had according to the minutes. So we're getting that lined up every Wednesday. So tomorrow morning we'll go back over those and prioritize those and line those up now.
Yeah.
To be able to discuss it.
On that, you know, those online requests are due by 3:00 on December 12th. Okay, just to make sure. Checking. Sorry. Okay.
No. So,
I think you guys all see that you got a notice of the Employee Association Christmas party. Make a note of that. If you're planning on attending, and let them know about that. I'd like to second what Kelly said about the attendance at the ribbon cutting of the animal shelter. It was had to be moved over to the senior center, and it probably would have had to be moved anyway with the number of people that showed up. So that was nice. I too would like to thank the police department, the fire department for all you do. But I'd like to take that a step further and thank all of our departments for what they do, because everybody's putting an effort forward. You heard that tonight, trying to get the positions filled. I just appreciate the direction of what the city's going. So, and that's all I have tonight. And with that, I would take a motion to go, hopefully, a brief executive session.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to convene into closed session to discuss matters as provided for under New Mexico statute section 10-15-1, paragraph H2, relating to limited personnel matters. Ms. Swoops, we call the roll.
Yes. So Ms. Cordova is absent. Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes.
Mr. Merrick.
Yes.
Ms. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Rackler.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
And Mr. Self.
Yes.
It carries.
Thank you, guys.
Aye.
All right. I need a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Parker, second by Mr. Self to come out of executive session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Only those items stated in the motion to go into executive session were discussed. No action was taken and no action was needed. We're adjourned.